Let's go to the world's busiest airport, shall we? Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International. And now Atlanta leaders are exploring whether private security screening could help improve the TSA experience for travelers. Let's talk all about this with Atlanta City Councilman Byron Amos, sponsoring a new resolution to study this idea. Councilman, good to have you this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Doing just fine. We thank you for your time on a busy morning. Let's just start with what exactly you're proposing and how this idea came about.
Well, it's just that I have asked for a 90-day feasibility study to be done. Well, for a feasibility study to be done within 90 days to actually look at if it is possible for us to prioritize the screening services at the airport. And that's all it asks for. It asks if it's possible, how much it'll cost. It also asks for first right of refusal for any TSA agent that wants to come over, because at the same time, we don't want to disrupt anyone's lives. But it's just asking for a study to see if it's possible.
Okay, so the TSA agents, the current ones in Atlanta, if this was possible, if this was to be implemented, still a whole lot of ifs between now and whenever this could happen. They'd be allowed to go work for this private security company. Does that mean there'd be no more TSA as we know it at Atlanta?
Well, yes and no. So they will be allowed to work for the company, but they will still have to go through the screening process and be hired. So that is another process. So just for understanding, by federal mandate, TSA is over all security at all airports, private or TSA led. So TSA will still be over the security of the airport. The privatization of the passenger screeners is actually a program of TSA that already exists. It exists long before anybody putting privatizing TSA into writing. So it is a program operating under TSA, and the private companies would have to follow all TSA training rules and guidelines.
And to that point, I know some airports around the country are already doing this. Have you studied that at all and learned how it's working there?
We have talked to a couple of airports. I have been trying to schedule a visit to actually go and see, but I have been able to get the knowledge over the telephones and emails. But you know, at the end of the day, my customer are the ones that actually uses the airport. And those are the ones that you saw in your news stories standing in line 4 or 5 hours, trying to handle a situation that we did not create and we had no control over. So that is what I am looking for as a leader of this city, to see how we make our customer experience better.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw those long TSA lines in recent months during the various government shutdowns. I'm curious to know whether that optic kind of played into your reasoning for wanting to explore this.
Well, you know, as we talk about the final straw, what a lot of people don't realize, I actually worked for the city of Atlanta several years ago on the security team at the airport. I have been in the security business for the last 20 plus years, so I have a unique perspective on security, airline security, and very special, unique perspective by working at the airport. So seeing this over the years, understanding that this have unfortunately happened over the last 2 to 3 years consistently, it is time, like I say, us as leaders, if there's a better way to do something better for our customers.
So tapping into that experience, being a former, small business owner of a private security company as well, I'm curious to know what you think specifically private security can do better than government-run security.
Well, to be completely honest, the only thing that'll be different is that they would not be tied to a governmental shutdown or a governmental budget. All of the training that this private security company will have to follow will be drawn up and designed by TSA. So the only thing that you will see different in services will be the uniform. And actually in some airports, the uniform are the same, just the patch on the uniform is different. So the biggest thing that the difference will be is they will not be subject to governmental shutdowns.
So who's going to pay the salaries? And let's say one of the screening machines needs to be replaced a few years down the road. Who foots that bill?
Well, all of that comes once again in the feasibility study to see. We ask for the ins and out of it to see what would take place, how much it'll cost us, who would pay for it, the biggest thing, because there's one thing I am not trying to do is to create another bill for the passengers and the taxpayers of the city.
What would the alternatives be if not taxpayers?
Well, I mean, the ultimate answer will be for our federal government to listen to us and remove TSA out of the general budget for Homeland Security into a protected fund to no matter if the shutdown happens or not, they will continue to work. Because at the end of the day, we're still asking people to come to work without being paid. So that would be the ultimate goal. The second thing would be just to keep the airport lines moving, to stop my 60 and 50-year-old passengers from standing in 4 to 3 hour lines for a situation that we just totally don't control.
You know, it passed almost unanimously, this feasibility study last week, 11-1, with you and 10 of your fellow council members voting to pass this through, wanting to look at this over the next few months. Councilwoman Kelsey Bond was the only one on council to vote against it, saying that the privatization of TSA is part of President Trump's Project 2025. She even said she received some emails from concerned citizens about all this. What do you say in response to that?
Well, I have received the same emails, and the first thing as being a leader, I have to educate. As I mentioned, this program has been a part of TSA program before Trump won, long before Project 25 even came into existence as far as in the public existence. So this program has been around and operating for years. It's just people have, they have truths, and it is up to me as the author of the paper to actually give them the whole truth.
Okay, so I guess the next question is what happens next? You'll get the findings back in a short 90 days. I mean, this summer's going to go by fast with everything happening in Atlanta. What happens once you receive this study? It hits your desk.
Well, I mean, it'll be shared with the Transportation Committee. Either we will accept it and file it, accept it and move on the recommendations in it. So then it really gets fun after we get the report back, because it will hopefully tell us if, one, first and foremost, if it's possible. The second one is how much it'll cost. So there has to be a lot of things that still need to align for it to actually happen.
I'm curious to know if you or anybody you know were trapped in some of those long lines in recent months at TSA from the government shutdowns.
Well, fortunately, I was not trapped, but because I avoided the lines by picking the right time to go and luckily didn't have any flights during that time. The flight was actually canceled, come to think of it. So I was not stuck, but I do have a couple of my colleagues that say they was out there at the time. The lines wasn't that long, but they were still a standing period.
Councilman Amos, it's great having you on talking about this topic this morning. We look for more to come in the months ahead. While I have you here, the first World Cup match in Atlanta is 19 days away. I'm just curious to know what you're most excited about and maybe what still keeps you up at night.
Well, you know, what I'm most excited about is what keeps me up at night. I live 1 block away from the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So what keeps me up at night is understanding that all of my friends and neighbors from around the world will be in my front yard 19 days from now. So that's what keeps me up. But what I'm most excited about is we are the city of Atlanta, and we are prepared to handle it. We are prepared to welcome the world, as we have done years and years before. So it is an exciting time. It is something very different, has never taken place in Atlanta. So as we welcoming the party and as we welcome the celebration, we also welcome the learning opportunity to learn from our friends and neighbors from around the world.
Well, look, I hope you're ready for some of that partying and celebration. Apparently in your own front yard. Should be an exciting time there downtown. Also, I got to ask you, with your security background, we heard from the police chief and the fire chief yesterday. They kind of briefed us on their security plans. I know you've been apprised of all this. They're saying about 1,000 first responders around downtown during the peaks of these matches. Are you satisfied with that? Does that sound like enough? How would you rate preparedness going into this?
Well, I rate preparedness A1. We have had events before, and I am proud to say that we recognize this is like no other event we have had before. Even some will say even bigger than the Olympics. So I'm proud to say we realized we needed help. We enlisted help. And when I say help, it is from the federal government all the way down to actually our policing department of our schools are involved as well. So I think that it is a well put together plan. But I think it was great champion Mike Tyson that said everybody has a plan until you hit in the mouth. So we're prepared for that secondary reaction as well. But I feel confident in the plan too, because we have to realize as the party goers and everyone that is coming to have a good time in our city, unfortunately, that is that element that is coming as well to prey on those party goers and those looking to have a good time.
Well, Councilman Amos, I appreciate your perspective on all this. An important one this morning as we approach, as you said, what could be the biggest event in Atlanta history there at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Great having you on the show this morning, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, sir. Anytime. Thank you.
All right, great. We'll see you soon.